Okay, awesome. Let's start off. First of all, it's great to see everybody, at least virtually, that's really exciting. I do want to talk about before I even get into like a Dvar Torah, I do want to talk about some pointers that I think will take us a long way in terms of kind of, success right now. Okay. I think the big word in today's game is balance. Okay. And it's such a Jewish thing. It's such a Torah thing, that you have to get yourself, and I'm, asking, I guess you could say, but it's like kind of more than that even. You have to get yourself into a healthy routine, because this whole game with this, what's going on and all that, it's most of it is over here. Most of it is over here. So that's kind of the first step with it, is making sure that you have a healthy routine, meaning like you get up at the same time, you go to sleep at the same time, you exercise, you read up, you do homework, you calls, and you even have time to surf and even waste time. That's okay. If that's part of your schedule, that's okay. But that's the way we're handling it here in the Levy house. Like we all get up. I mean, I get up earlier than the kids, and I do my own learning. And after that, I have some chavrutas and things like that. And then I'll start preparing for classes. And then the kids will get up. We'll have breakfast together. We'll work out. We worked out today, the whole house. It was really cool. We turned our house into like a little gym. We made like 4 stations, and I have like weights and dumbbells and all this kind of stuff. We went around and I played like Rocky music. It was like really cool. And, after that, we went on. The point is, we create a routine, and every night we hang out on the couch, we watch some type of movie, and then go to sleep and start the next day. So it's kind of like a nice thing to get into a flow, instead of just kind of waking up and like, oh, what's today like? That's kind of the idea. That's just like a word of how to succeed, in this time right now, let's call it. All right. Do you see the board in front of you? No, you don't. I'm going to share it with you. 1 second. Here we go. Okay. So minimize that a little bit. Okay. Let's pin that, and we're good to go. Okay. So we're going to discuss the following point. I'm going to start out from the bottom. I have an entire series of classes that I've been giving that I think are very powerful, very impactful in this, over the computer type of situation. All right. So we're going to discuss, you should see it in front of you. This is a Gemara. This is a Gemara in Brachot. You see on the left, it says Gemara in Brachot, Yud Amud Aleph. Okay? The Gemara talks about Chizkiyahu HaMelech. Okay? And please feel free to ask any questions and all this kind of stuff, because I'm talking to a box. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the way.
What's the topic?
I'm sorry? The topic? The topic is Hashkafa. But I mean, if you had to give it like a title, it would be like, let's give the topic at the end. I have a topic for it, but I want you to give it at the end. This way I could see what you got from it. But it goes under your like Musar and Hashkafa. If you want to like make it that way. Okay. So there's a story of Chizkiyahu HaMelech. Okay, King Chizkiyahu was a big tzaddik, big righteous person. He was actually one of the most righteous kings throughout the Jewish people history. And he was also a prophet. And lo and behold, what happens? He sees in his prophecy that he's going to have this really not good kid. All right? And he decides to like kind of alter that path. And what does he do? Look at the he decides on this. We'll read it. I'll read it, and you guys will kind of look inside with me. Okay? So this. Bayamim ahem chala Chizkiyahu lamut. Chizkiyahu started becoming ill, and the Navi Yeshayahu comes to him, Ben Amotz, Vayomer Elav, and he says to him, Ko Amar Hashem, right? Hashem said like this, Tav levetcha, go back to your house, he tells him, Kimeta tav lo tichye. You're not going to overcome this one. He says, why? He says, not in this. He says he got punished not in this, he got in this world punished, and and in Olam Haba. And in Olam Haba. Amarle, my kulihai, what did I do? What do you want from me? What's the big deal? What are you getting all upset at me? He says Chizkiyahu Melech to Yeshaya. And he says to him, Amarle, Mishum Delo Asakta Bepirya Urvya, because he didn't have kids. He didn't want to have kids. What does that mean? Why didn't he want to have kids? Amarle, you know why I didn't want to have kids? First of all, you don't find anywhere that a person loses their portion in the world to come when they don't want to have kids. There's no, doesn't say that anywhere, right? Secondly, he says to him, Mishum, the Chazayli, I saw in Ruach HaKodesh, the Nafka Minai Banin Delo Ma'alu. I'm going to have a kid that's going to be evil. He saw in his prophecy that he was going to have a kid that was evil. He said, listen, I just don't want to have kids because of that, you know? And the Navi says to him, well, listen to me, young man. He says, Amalek, Behadi Kavshi de Rahmana Lamalach. Why are you dealing with the path of the heavens? Like the Gemara goes on to say, you do what you're supposed to do and let God do what he's supposed to do. Okay? And you shouldn't have gotten involved. You should not have gotten involved in this situation. The Gemara goes on. The Gemara goes on to say, Amalei, Hashta Havli Birtach, let me marry your daughter. If Shar, the Garma's Chuta, Didi Vididach, maybe if that happens, and maybe my zichut, my merit, and her merit of being a tzadikah, maybe we'll be able to make it that, you know, this evil kid is not born, right? The Gemara goes into this thing that they see that he sees this kid that like it becomes a murderer and is a king and makes the whole world, makes all the Jewish people serve idols. So he said to him, no, I'm sorry. Yeshaya says, I'm sorry, but you will not, the decree is on you. And he says, it's finished. We're not interested. You're decreed to die. Amalei ben Amot, he says, Kale nevuatcha, finish your nevuah and go out. Why? And this is kind of the focal point here. Kach mikublani mi beit avi abba. This is what I received from the words of my father, from my father's ancestry. Afilu cherev chada, munachat al tzavaro shel adam. Even if a sharp sword is sitting on someone's neck. So it's really like lined up bad over here. It's a sword, a sharp sword on someone's neck, like the worst. Al yimna atzmo min harachamim. You cannot give up hope. And that's kind of like the start of our discussion over here, guys. First of all, we see something very interesting over here, and that is that Hashem kind of pushes the person to the edge of their capabilities. Okay? You know, like I feel even if a sharp sword is on someone's neck, meaning like it can't get any worse than that. So if God's going to save me, and this is kind of the question, right? If God's going to save me, then why not just save me to begin with? Why make me go through the whole thing? Right? So that was the first part. The second thing, sorry, someone is off mute. I don't think it's you. Guys, check if you're on mute. Okay. The second thing is the following point. We have to understand, and we're going to get into this, the significance of being able to keep mentally strong. Okay. And it's like this with anything that we want to accomplish in life. All right, guys? Any movement that we want to make, our mind, our mental capability has to be extremely focused and resilient. Okay, we spoke about this in class. We spoke about Rabbi Akiva, but I'll go over it again because it really pertains. Rabbi Akiva had 3 stages in his life. First stage is when he started becoming religious. Right, step number 1. Step number 2, Step number 2 is after he opened the yeshiva. And step number 3 is when at the end of his days when he passed away. Okay, Rabbi Akiva. Let's go through all 3 of them. First of all, when he was step number 1 of Rabbi Akiva, he discovered Judaism at age 40. Okay, he discovers Judaism at age 40, and he needs to go study. He needs to go to yeshiva. But he's 40 years old. So how is he going to go to yeshiva at age 40? It's going to be kind of weird, you know? Like a 40-year-old sitting in class with kindergarten kids. So his wife says to him, no problem, I have an idea. Take a donkey, put grass on its back, and go into the shuk. He's like, how is that going to help? He's like, just do it. She says to him, just do it. So he does that. He goes into the shuk, and he starts saying, who wants to see the eighth wonder of the world, the donkey that grows grass on its back? Everybody's amazed, right? Looking, and this is unbelievable. After a day, he comes, and everyone, next day he comes back. Who wants to see a donkey with grass on its back? Oh, this is great. After 3-4 days of doing that, it starts dying down. After a week, 2 weeks, nobody's paying attention anymore. Khalas, it's not interesting. Like when you first got to Israel, like, wow, everything's so exciting. Milk in bags. How does this work? And then after that, you're just like, yeah, milk comes in bags. Then you get home for the first time, right? You guys are back home now. You have like milk in cartons and like twisted open and all that kind of stuff. You're used to it. What did he see from this? He saw from this something very interesting. Not to pay attention, and we have to hear this discussion till the end. Don't allow, okay, this is the point I want you to write down. Don't allow the reality to dictate your reaction. Okay, next stage in his life. Okay, you need to write that down. Next stage in his life. Rabbi Akiva is now a rabbi. He's got 24,000 students. Lo alenu, 1,000 a day are passing away. What would any person say if his whole business shuts down, everything closes, all this kind of stuff? His whole yeshiva's passed away. He says, you know what? I guess I'm just not supposed to be a teacher, and maybe I should go into something else. What does Rabbi Akiva do? Next day, so to speak, he starts another yeshiva, and 5 of the top students that we have had, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Rabbi Meir, they were from the next batch. The question is, again, you see this aspect of Rabbi Akiva that he's not paying attention. He's not allowing the reality to dictate to him how to act. Okay, this is stage number 2, because he should have given up. Step number 3 in his life, he's caught for learning Torah. He's learning Torah, and the authorities, what do they say? They say, you're not allowed to learn Torah, it's punishable by death. Fine. What happens? They catch him, they tie him up, and they're scraping his skin with metal rods and pouring salt on it. Now he's saying, as all this is going on, he's saying the Shema. And his students are there. So they say to him, Rabbi, finish the Shema, and then his soul will go out, and he won't be in any pain. He says, no, this is not how it's going to go down. I'm going to dictate. And he continued saying the Shema and finished when he wanted. What's the point? The point is very simple. There's a balance in life. Okay? There's a balance in life. What's the balance? On the one hand, obviously, we have to be home. We have to listen to the doctors. We have to stay safe. We have to be clean, wash our hands, all these things that are necessary, right? That's just the reality, okay? But is that going to dictate our mindset? That's the question. What do we see from Rabbi Akiva? You cannot let any reality, any person, any situation dictate how you think. Because that is such a slippery slope to depression, sadness, anger, whatever it might be. You can never allow what you see in front of you. We have to dictate to ourselves what we think and how we feel. And that's what we learned from Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva went through the 3 stages in his life, and what did he didn't allow the reality to tell him how he's going to act. Okay, I remember we spoke about this in class. We said Eleanor Roosevelt said, right? So no one can hurt your feelings without your permission. Okay, write that down. No one can hurt your feelings without your permission. That means if you get hurt by someone, it's because you allowed them to hurt your feelings. Okay, and it's such a big part of success in life, obviously. And now with the whole picture of what's going on, is a big part of it is the mind game, staying mentally sharp, staying mentally focused, mentally positive. Okay, and that's what we're kind of learning from Rabbi Akiva. And that's what we're seeing from Chizkiyahu Melech. Okay, you go back to the words that we were saying. He said, even if the person's in a dire situation. Okay, so what's the balance what's the balance between emunah and bitachon? What is emunah? What's emunah? What's emunah? You tell me. What is emunah? Emunah is faith, right? That's the outlook. Okay? Bitachon is what? Is the practical implication of it. You could have a person who has emunah, but he doesn't necessarily have bitachon. You understand? It could be that he's a big believer. He's a very big believer. But practically, does it actually influence the way his emotions are, his feelings are, the way he acts? Might not. That means they have emunah, but they don't have bitachon. Okay, and you have to kind of gauge where it is that you are with that. Where are we with that? Because it's so easy, like just to talk and say, yeah, of course, Baruch Hashem, Bezras Hashem. And I'll take it another step forward, but does it actually implement how you feel? That's where bitachon comes in. I'll take it another step forward. The Torah says, right? The Torah says that you can't covet. One of the 10 commandments, right, is you can't covet. You can't desire something that someone else has, someone's wife or whatever it might be, object that he has, house that is. Okay, I don't understand. How are you supposed to control wanting something or not? Right? Lo tachmod. One of the 10 commandments is don't covet. Lo tachmod. I don't get it. Like, what do you mean? I want it, don't want it, but I do. Well, don't. But I said I do. Like, how does that work? Right? What does that mean exactly? Not to covet. So the Mfarshim, the commentaries talk about it, and they say the following interesting point. They say that a person's mind is only capable. Ready, guys? And this is so key. This is so important. It's important for you now, and it's important for you later. B'ezrat Hashem, when you get married and you have children and all that, life's not going to be easy, and your kids are going to be turning to you for support and strength. Okay, you have to make sure that you're in that zone. There's no, sometimes there's no second chance. Okay, so again, the question is, I don't understand. How does the Torah tell us you can't lachmod, you can't covet? What does that mean? I can't covet. I want it. The answer is like this. The Mfarshim, their commentaries say like this. God gave our mind the capability of thinking of one thing at a time. You can't think about two things. You can't have two separate conversations with two separate people, right, at the same time. You can only focus on one thing at one time. So it's okay to have, ready, and this is an entire discussion, it's okay to have that initial, oh, wow, that's nice, wish I had it. Okay, that's called human. Where do you go with that? Where do you go with that mindset? Do you take it and dig deeper into it and deeper into it? What does that mean? What does that have to do with your mind only being able to think about one thing? So if the reason that we covet something or the reason we have a negative thought is because our mind is not busy with positivity, okay? If our mind was busy with positivity, then we wouldn't have room for anything else. And that's the deep understanding of how the Torah can command you anything emotionally. Don't this, don't that. What do you mean don't? I do. No. So the work is not on the don't part. The work is on the do part. Like if there is a negative thought process in someone's mind, right, then the work is to get it into the positive mind, to dictate what you're going to think. Okay, and that's so much of the game that we're discussing over here, right? Making sure that we're proactive about our thoughts and not necessarily reacting to a situation. Okay, and that's where Emunah and Bitachon start to really get fused into one. Where we have Emunah, but it also Bitachon wise. Okay, so what we're saying is, and Rav Kook talks about this. He says, and maybe we'll get to it in a different class, but it says in Bamidbar, it says that if you go out to war, right, and you see a huge nation in front of you, you shouldn't fear them. You get that, guys? You go out to war, okay? You go out to war and you see a huge nation in front of you, right? You shouldn't fear them. They have chariots and horses. What does that mean, don't fear them? Right? The Pasuk says, Ki tetzela milchama aloivecha, right? Yeah, lo tira mihem, right? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. I'm very scared. There's 10 of us and 1,000,000 of them. So Rav Kook explains on a deeper level, what does it mean, fear? Okay, and this is the point I really want you to kind of internalize. There's something of a natural fear. Fear is healthy. It's okay to be scared. It's part of human nature to be scared. But there's a different type of fear. There's a paralyzing fear. That is something we're not allowed to have. That paralyzing fear is the fear that the Torah talks about when it says, don't be scared. You're allowed to be scared of a situation. It's normal. What does that mean, right? Fear is one of the traits that helps us react. So just like anger, there are certain times you're allowed to be angry, but does the anger paralyze you? Okay, so that's kind of the idea behind it. Let me pause for a minute for some questions. You know, to have an emotion that paralyzes you is the issue. So like, it's like, who's leading who? Is the horse leading the carriage, or is the person leading the horse? Like, who's leading who over here? If the emotion gets so paralyzing and powerful that it takes you over and you can't function in a healthy way, that's already a lack of emunah.
But okay? Isn't it
yeah.
How do you actually, like, having positive thoughts is like a nice idea, but like in reality, how do you actually control your emotions?
So it's
like if someone keeps bugging you.
It's a muscle. It's a muscle like anything, like any other muscle, like any other part of your body. It's a muscle. You can't go to the gym on the first day and all of a sudden become, superpower. It's a process. You have to identify it. You have to remove things that are negative. You have to infuse things that are positive. And with that constant step forward, the person ends up becoming a positive thinker. You know that Rav Moshe Feinstein said that he worked on his anger for 30 years. 30 years. You guys are not 30. You guys are not even close to 30 years old yet. So you get what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to just happen. Yes, there will be people in life. There will be situations and predicaments that cause negativity or anger. They're not going to just go away. It's a matter of the process of controlling our thought. And that trickles down to the rest of us, the rest of who we are. Okay. Let's go back to some of our notes here. Okay. The next situation is similar to that of Chizkiyahu's, with another one of the tzaddikim. Okay. So this is talking about the discussion that God had with Moshe Rabbeinu when it was time to save Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu, Amru lefanav. God had it with the angels. The angels, Amru lefanav, Malachei Hasharet. The angels came and said to Moshe Rabbeinu, this is in Dvarim Rabbah, chapter 2, 29. Amru lefanav Malachei Hasharet. The angels said to God, they said, Nitpas Moshe ben Bitcha. Moshe Rabbeinu was caught. Amar lehem, okay, ani nitkayem alav. I got it. The angels turned back to God and they said, Amru lefanav. Harehi umed. He's standing before Paro, like for judgment. So God said, okay, I got it. And they said, oh, they're reading his judgment, right? God's like, okay, I got it. Harehi yotzei lahoreg. They're taking him out to be killed. Amar lehem, ani mitkayem alav. I got him. Yatza lahoreg. That's it. He's lying down. They tied him up. They got the sword. They're about to chop his head off. Like, Vehitzila Kadosh Baruch Hu. God saved him. Minayin sheneimar ve'etzileni mecherev paro. The Midrash says that's when God stepped in. But there's an idea here. Why didn't God just save him in the beginning? And we find this in numerous places, like also by Abraham. It says by Abraham that when he went to sacrifice Yitzchak, right? He did the whole process, the whole journey, the whole thing. God didn't interfere, type of thing. When he picks up the sword to sacrifice Yitzchak, God's like, wait a second, hold on, an angel stops him. Why at that point? You're going to stop it in the beginning. Okay? Another example is Nachshon ben Aminadav, when he jumps into the ocean, right? He jumps into the ocean, and God, and you think when Nachshon jumps in, he's going to be saved. When Jewish people are crossing the Yam Suf, what happens? Water gets up to his mouth. He's like choking, and then God splits the sea. What's the idea behind it? Again, this is kind of the focal point of this whole concept is patience. Okay, guys, patience is a huge part of trusting God. Okay, we see that all the tzaddikim, all the righteous people, were tested, and it was a patience game, right? Abraham Avinu waited 100 years to have kids. We want the salvation now. We want it to happen right now, this second, so to speak. But that's not how God runs it. We have to realize that there's, like we said, Emunah and bitachon, the knowledge and then the practical implications of it. Being patient with God is part of the process of trusting Him. Okay, it's not enough just to say I have Emunah, but to actually be able to trust God and be patient with Him and see that His outcome it has a different timeline than ours. Okay, let's remember that there is no concept of time when it comes to God. He's above time. There's no concept. The whole concept of time is a creation, right? Einstein's theory of relativity. That time is relative depending on where you are in the universe. Okay, so we spoke about a few points. Let me pause again, and then I'll recap. It's key to appreciate that having the mental strength and the perseverance in a situation are the keys to success. Okay, that's kind of the idea behind it, and that we see by even the tzaddikim. Okay, like we said, Nachshon B'Aminadav jumped into the ocean, didn't split right away. Avraham Avinu went with Akedah Yitzchak. The angel didn't stop it right away till the last minute. Moshe Rabbeinu was saved. You know, it's part of the Emunah process is for us to appreciate that God, we have to be patient with the situation, and that's our expression of the bitachon. Okay, any questions? I'll pause for questions, guys.